It is May 28th. That makes it a Thursday. And joining me is Chris Steinecker on Chamber's Insight into the economic impact of the coronavirus. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. I hope you are as well. You and I were up late last night. We were at the St. Pete Chambers Molly Suds Entrepreneur Academy graduation.
Yep.
We graduated 25 wonderful new entrepreneurs in our community. We were the first kind of all virtual Entrepreneur Academy. We usually do it in person for 10 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And we went ahead, and 2 weeks into this crisis, we went ahead and pulled the trigger and did it. And I got to tell you, Joe, I hope you felt it, but people just really appreciated being together during this crisis. I think they got as much just having a place to be on Monday nights from 6 to 8 as they did the information, but it was a love fest. And I'm just wanting to give a shout out to all my EA graduates, and thanks for sharing their dreams with us. And I can't wait to see what they do for St. Pete.
Yeah, the transformation is always impressive. When they come in, I call it the Barry Cannon. He just shoots them out of a cannon, right? They come in and Barry Foster, and kind of looking around. I'm in business, and by the end of it, they're just raring to go. They've made great connections with each other. They have a bunch of knowledge in their head, and he shoots them out into the world, and they grow the businesses that make the jobs that keep us humming.
Yeah, so it was a beautiful thing. So I'm kind of feeling pretty good about just pushing through. We didn't know what we were doing to get started, but there's something to be said, Joe, about just pushing through, and that's what we did. And I'm really proud of everybody who took the journey. And so congratulations to all our grads. And talk about pushing through. Let's look at the numbers for today and see if we can continue on working. So I'm going to share my screen with you, if you don't mind, and bring up our opportunity to look at these things. Again, Joe, we've got the best numbers you want to see 2 days and now 3 days in a row where we're getting this weekly percent positive has decreased. It went down from 1.91 to 1.26. And now for 3 days in a row now, our average daily new cases is starting to drop off the 20 mark. A couple of days in a row now, in fact, all this week, the trends are exactly what we were hopeful of, and they're getting better and better. I did a presentation this morning for some folks, and I really just have to say, this is what we were hopeful of after over 2 weeks now of reopening our economy on May 4th. To have such wonderful numbers is important. So it means that all these precautions are being effective for us, at least helping us. The other thing we talked about yesterday that I just want to keep understanding is why we're doing it, why we're trying to get people back, is this notion of 76,000 people in Pinellas County filed for unemployment. We're trying to get them back to work. That was about 14% or 16% of our workforce. So there's a lot of folks that want us to keep moving forward safely. And so the good news is we are. The other good news is, again, now we've got almost 5 days in a row now where we're averaging that like 0.6, 0.7, less than 1% kind of numbers for positive percent cases. This was the other thing we should watch. We said if this went spike, we have to run, and right now it's going the right direction. Everything you see is heading the right direction.
Oh yeah, those that 35 and that 36 are going to drop off soon, and we should see a nice drop in that 20 number.
Total average. Yeah, absolutely. And then finally, the beds themselves. I really believe we're seeing there's we've been averaging around 24% of our beds available. You can see it's actually even decreased the number of COVID occupied beds. And I think what hospitals are doing right now safely is just doing all those other procedures that they had backed up, because you're seeing your ICU beds hold steady with the 8% of COVID and the rest. So to me, it seems like our hospitals are enduring it, are handling it. So thank God we have first responders who have figured this out for us. They're testing. Our hospitals can test within 45 minutes. So it feels to me like things are going the direction we were hopeful of. And as I end every one of these with is just wear the flocking mask or keep your flocking distance, whatever it is, but be a good pelican out there. And
speaking of good pelicans.
Speaking of good pelicans, absolutely a great one. We have talked about reopening the last 2 weeks, and we talked to museums early on. I think we had the James Museum. We've got our museums opening up, and the Imagine Museum, our glass museum, was the first one to reopen. And I'd love to have Jane Buckman join me here. Come, bring her in. Let's talk a little bit about that whole experience.
Hey, Jane.
Hey there, you're back.
I'm imagining you the right way around, but I'm not.
Jane, you're sideways.
Yeah.
I'm up now. You can see the arch. Very easy.
There we go.
Perfect.
I love it.
Here. Is that good?
It's
That's great.
perfect. You're as beautiful as the art behind you, but it's great to see your face.
Oh, Chris.
So Jane, you and I have known each other for a while now, but and you know Joe, but please introduce us. Please introduce yourself to our viewers and listeners today.
Great. I'm Jane Buckman, and I'm the executive director of Imagine Museum.
And tell people about the Imagine Museum.
So we've all been, you both have been around since our opening. And as you know, we started with a 500 piece collection of American studio glass. What has transpired over the last 3 years is that the collection has grown to include American and international contemporary studio glass. So we now have, our collection is about 1,500 pieces of museum quality work. So you'll see that in the museum as you come through and see on the first floor, the American collection. On the second floor, you'll see a lot of representation from international glass art.
Yep.
Pretty spectacular.
Way spectacular, because I remember it seemed like it was a week or two before COVID hit that you had a media event and you invited me to, where you just expanded your virtual exhibit and augmented reality, right?
Yes,
and it's quite fascinating as far as how to educate people about the glass movement, but also just kind of create new experiences when museums come in. So you guys were already on the edge of innovation, and it was going quite well. I thought what you had put together was just internationally just blew me away. I mean, it was that level of it.
And thank you so much. And that's why it was important to, as soon as that we got the go ahead to open, that we did. Because if you remember, our values are to inspire, uplift, and educate. So working with our board, and you both know Trish, working with Trish, it was like, we have to get the museum open. People need to see this collection and be uplifted. So I might have intended to open a little later, but that was not the intent of our board of directors chairperson. And so we did. We made it happen. Yes. We opened for Mother's Day.
Let's talk about it. So talk about it. So you were able to open up, and but it was a different kind of experience. I mean, people got to see everything, but they had so just what have you learned from it? Like, what should people expect when they go to a museum like yours now? How has the experience changed? What safety have you put in precautions? Like, just help people understand all the things you've learned from this.
I appreciate all of the updates that you all give. I'll just say that, because that through the whole time, we were all working behind the scenes. We had to reduce our staff. We had to do layoffs. We had to do furloughs, knowing that this was going to be ongoing for a considerable amount of time. And we're such a new museum that there was just not any way that we could bear the loss of what was going on. So the mighty 10 full-time people that we have, we stayed and kept working on the museum, our marketing, the collection. We had a lot of building facility issues to take care of. So I haven't had a day off. If you guys are spending time home, I think you're very lucky. Because I haven't done that.
Let me interrupt there, Jane, because that is what we've learned from this, is that the people that have been working from home, and we've had a lot of executives running good businesses from their home who literally kind of perk up and smile about that part of it, that they have been lucky enough that when they take the break, their kids are right next to them and they can read a story or go for a walk. So there is something to be said for it's not bad, but
I look longingly at those people, actually, because that hasn't been my experience. And so with opening, I'll be very realistic with you. We do the social distancing. We have created tours specific for social distancing. We started out with minimal hours. We will start moving into 6 days a week next week. Everyone wears masks. Masks are part of, if you don't have your own, they're part of what you get when you buy a ticket. We have hand sanitizers all over. We have messaging all over with our procedures and protocols, so people follow it. We do timed entry, and we encourage everyone to book their tickets in advance so that they don't have any fingers involved with purchasing. We have the guards. I mean, actually, I followed a lot of the direction. We're not taking temperature. I think that that's maybe a little excessive. So as long as everybody has masks, and honestly, this is the best time to go because the number of people that are coming out, when we opened Mother's Day weekend, it was about 45 per day, not a high number. Through the last 2 weeks, I would say it's been between 25 and 45 per day. But I can tell you, everybody that has, and because there's so few, and I want to know what people are thinking, what brought them out, they really did want a beauty uplift. They really wanted to get out, and they really wanted to go someplace where they trusted that it would be safe. So, and so the response that I've gotten is really very positive. So, we're going to keep hitting on that idea of the being safe, but providing an environment to go to, be uplifted, and that's what I'll say is the best part for me, having worked over these last 8 weeks and being here, is that I had this beautiful collection every day to make me actually be inspired and uplifted. So even though you had your homes and your children and all of that, I
Well,
did have some beautiful pieces to hang out with.
you have amazing pieces over there to hang out with. So yeah, you are very lucky in that effort. So let's talk about that. We talked to Duncan on a show a couple weeks ago, and he was trying to figure out. You guys have glass there, and like how do you I know that the masks help with the folks that are in there, but are you doing anything else for the actual cleaning?
We've upped our cleaning. So we clean the glass 3+ times a week. That's why everybody does wear masks, so that there's nothing that is going on to the collection. And then we have our porter, house cleaning porter, that goes around and cleans all the surfaces about every hour and a half. And then we have the hand sanitizers. You have the face masks. If you really want to put on gloves in the retail area, then we have gloves available too. We want you to feel safe. We want you to feel comfortable, to be able to take your time, take a breath, and walk through the museum.
And so far, you're saying that your exit polls that you're doing, saying people needed that, and probably
Yeah.
is a great time, because to have only 25 people in that amazing museum, to have that place by yourself almost is
It
almost
is.
spiritual, right? It could be
Yeah,
spiritual.
they do. They do really. They know what they have, and so they really enjoy it. I think they even spend longer than what they would typically spend, just because they can. Right? They can take their time. They can sit in front of the pieces. They can, even in our theater. All of the seating is 6 feet apart, so even people can go into that space and enjoy various videos about the artists in our collection.
So let me ask you another one, because you're jamming on this stuff. So you're lucky a little bit on the you're not, you have retail. So, but put that aside for a second. Your museum, nobody's allowed to touch the stuff anyway, so that helps, right?
That's right.
And God forbid if they do touch that stuff.
Yeah.
But then you do have a retail component where it almost, at least it had been set up to almost want me to touch some of the things, to look
Mm-hmm.
around. How do you handle that part? I'm just curious, so that other retailers can learn from your experience.
So we totally changed out our retail so that there wasn't as many things out to touch. We were very conscious of, for example, we had the display of marbles. Well, probably not the right thing right now is to have people grabbing for marbles. So we've removed that. We have marble kits. So if people want marbles, they can buy kits. And we really were trying to pay attention. Just, we have a lot of jewelry that's in counters, and how do we make that accessible? Or how do we, so really it's our staff when people want to see something, they'll put on the gloves. They have the face masks. They'll be the ones that will be showing those type of things and working with the customers. So we are we really are trying to make it a very safe environment, but one that still is not too disruptive. It's already, people will say with the masks, because some hadn't worn them before, and they're the paper masks, so they're like, oh my god, they're so hot, and we all know what that is if we wear masks, and that they would endure it, to walk through the museum. uh, uh, I give them credit too, but it is the right thing to do. So it protects everybody, and it even protects our collection.
Yep. So and I say wear the flocking masks all the time. So you have no
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But tell me about the virtual experiences, because there were times, you were handing me an iPad and I could look at things. And has that been postponed now, or you guys are allowing to do that, or how does that
So
work?
we have special tours that we limit between 6 and 10 people. The ideal, you have to book in advance, so that with that you can go on those tours. So it gives us the opportunity to be able to clean all the pads between the tours that we have booked, and on Saturdays we'll take our uh, you'll appreciate this. So we have in room 225, if you remember the large boats, the collaborations with the rocket ships and the boats,
Oh, yeah.
that have all of the takeoff and everything. So we're planning an experience. This will be for families that they can get a ticket, and we've closed off that room. We've added some things so that you actually could get a whole experience about space. And we've opened up our virtual reality and our augmented reality in that room. So it's just one awesome experience to have. So, and then that will be limited to how many people can go into the room and make that happen. So,
well, maybe some of those folks will get inspired on Saturday watching the rocket take off and want to get some of their own
we
experience.
hope so. We're right on it, right?
Yeah, right.
That would be Trisha's goal, is to have Elon Musk come to Imagine Museum.
All right, Elon, I know you watch the show, so Elon,
Yeah.
He does. He writes me every day and says how much he loves it.
so we've got him. We'll book him. Oh wait, he's texting me right now. Back.
I knew you got to know the right people, right? You just got to know the right people.
So before, it looks like that might be Trisha's work behind you there, but what is behind you right there? Just, I love learning about all the different things you guys have.
Yeah, this is when we first opened. We're up on the third floor. So if you've been on the third floor, this is Trisha's Americana room. And when she was in the beginning of opening the American collection, opening with the American collection, she herself did a whole series of rondelles and cast pieces, all having to do with astronauts and the Statue of Liberty. I'm just looking around, and just everything that makes America America. So right behind me, we have some of her medallions that have the insignias that's on coins and other pieces. So,
Beautiful.
So yeah, this is a lovely room to be in also.
Yeah.
For Imagine Museum fans, who I assume will pay attention to this, we talked about two extraordinary women in Eugene and Trish Duggan, the founder. A third extraordinary woman who's attached to it, which I had the pleasure of doing one of my favorite interviews in SPX, was Joanna Sykes. And you were actually in the studio when we did that, Jane, and did an influencer afterwards, which I thank you for. But if you're interested, she's really just fascinating life. Deep history in glass, but that's St. Pete episode 34 with Joanna Sykes, who was instrumental in putting together the Imagine Museum. And I encourage anybody who wants a little more Imagine content to check it out.
And Joanna is executive director of a museum just north of Seattle now. So that she's not associated with the museum any longer, but she has her own museum in Seattle that she's taking care of.
Wonderful.
Well, Jane, I appreciate it. I hope, if nothing else, people take the opportunity to get in while it's an intimate experience, because I don't think people, I know if people go into your Imagine Museum, they're going to come out telling everybody they know they need to go in there, because I don't think people really understand what they're going to get to see. So I'm glad you're open. You've taught
Yes.
me a lot today about what we can teach others. So you're a good
Yeah.
bellwether for others. So thank you for sharing everything you've gone through. Thank you for keeping the arts alive in the arts in the glass coast
Yes.
of St.
Yes.
Petersburg here. And we look forward to
Absolutely.
seeing you soon, and keep us informed of what's next over there. Okay.
Okay. Thanks so much. It's great seeing you guys. I look forward to real time with you
Soon.
both.
Yes.